They've hired a search firm that will go out and consider candidates. But I have pretty strong feelings about what the profile should look like, and that doesn't mean in its physical characteristics. It means what I think that our league needs in terms of moving us forward. And we need to be able to, I know that any position, whether it's an athletic director, CEOs, that kind of that buzz of selling, that's what they want. They want that profile to be somebody that can sell our league. And I think it's incredibly important as well. But our league is something you have to understand to be able to tell its story effectively, to move people in a room to open their checkbooks. And I also think that this person needs the support of the NBA to a level that's not happened right now. I think maybe in the beginning it was there, but we are, kind of in a place now. We believe it's a critical time in our league. We have an opportunity with the opening of both the president and the COO to kind of shape what it's going to look like going forward. And I think that person that's in that seat is going to have to be supported in a way that the NBA hasn't, let's say, over the last 10 years. And so, a person that can, be strong enough to be able to say to Adam Silver or Mark Tatum, this isn't good enough. We need to be able to do these things, and have Mark Tatum and Adam Silver listen and move. And so I don't know who they are, who that person is, but I think that's the profile of what we need.
Interesting. From Whoop, Joshua Wenk on Twitter, how does the WNBA PA opting out of the CBA affect the way the Lynx approach free agency and trades this offseason? It's a good question. It
is a good question. And the opt-out of the CBA is just essentially, what is it, 21 was going to be the length of the CBA. So just a short time before it was going to end anyway. But the 2019 season is going to be played as business as usual under the old CBA, and it won't be until after the 2019 season. So that does not affect our sort of plans in formulating a roster. I think what you see, and we've already seen that, it's been happening for a couple years in anticipation of the potential opt-out after the 2019 season, is players are having to make decisions of, the top players, what's going to change? Is the salary structure going to change? Is the salary cap going to change? How is it going to change? And so we've had some key players not want to go past 2019, so not negotiating anything long-term because they don't want to miss out on a chance to capitalize on. So I think it's more coming from the players and agent side, maybe the way that they think, but it's business as usual for us as we will go into free agency in January. Negotiations, same thing. Maybe they only want to do a one-year deal to see what happens. I think it depends on the status of the player. So we might see more in January, what effect it might have. But again, that's already been going on really the last couple of years.
Right. Another question from Mary. Will Rebecca's health be strong enough for her to return?
Well, I hope Rebecca's health overall, whether she returns or not, is kind of where it was before. She struggled late in the season, and to my knowledge, when she's coming over and working out, she is in a place that she feels considerably better than the weeks right after the season. So that was really good news. I haven't seen Rebecca. I know, with the starting the family, the birth of their child. I know she's having a blast. I know if it was anything like what I went through, you're just an absolute heaven. He's an absolute joy. Graham Mateo, this little boy is just bringing her. I know every day, just smiles, and also not sleeping very much. So there's a lot that goes with that, and I've allowed kind of Rebecca to have that space. We haven't talked about a whole lot of basketball stuff, and I haven't seen her. I haven't been here, but. If there's anybody that's going to take care of her body, it's Rebecca Brunson.
So you were at the league meetings in Las Vegas. What is that like?
Well, it sounds really fun, right?
It does, actually.
But you know how those things go. They're
really
league meetings.
Yeah, you sit in ballrooms.
Yeah, you sit in ballrooms. That's exactly right. And, our league meetings are only from noon to 5 on one day. And so I went in the day before and, just kind of you catch up with some of the people around the league. Have a drink, eat a little bit, and you spend 5 hours in a meeting together, and then we actually stayed for the general session of both the business and the basketball, and they had a dinner. So we did that, and out the next morning. So it's very, very quick. The kind of the usual things are considered. Any rules changes, the officials tell us how wonderful they were, and how wonderful they'll be going forward. And we usually sit through that, and we talk about scheduling, and the league talks about their side of things, and it was really business as usual at the meetings, and nothing was decided, and then we carry on.
I've had some great life experiences lately. 2 trips to New York. One was business, and one was just pure pleasure. But I ended up fitting in Hamilton and Springsteen on Broadway in consecutive weekends.
Was it life-changing either?
Well, I, as a writer, I don't like to overuse words like great or the greatest ever or life-changing. I won't say life-changing. I will just say that they are 2 of the best things I've ever seen in my life.
Exactly.
Hamilton, my wife and I were a little worried because we'd heard so many great things. We were like, okay, can it really live up to everything we've heard about it? And it was better. It was better than I expected.
Well, that's great.
It was brilliant. And seeing it in New York was special.
I can't even imagine.
And the Springsteen thing, for someone who's been, who've seen him a million times and with, 18-piece bands and jumping off pianos, it's the first time I've ever seen him where the music wasn't necessarily the most important thing.
Okay.
It was really the storytelling, and the songs fit into his basically autobiographical tale. But I don't know. I can't. Now I understand why athletes say, well, I don't have the words to describe it. I don't. I could talk to you for a day about it. I couldn't talk to you for 5 minutes about it.
Right.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't summarize it in 5 minutes. But 2 of the best things I've ever seen, and also two entities that also help you understand where we are in our history.
Yes.
Bruce doesn't shy away from talking about social issues. Hamilton is itself.
It's unreal.
It's about social issues. They're both. I'm getting tongue-tied, and it's my job to not be tongue-tied, but I can't help it. They were again. I don't know if life-changing is the right phrase, but they certainly consciousness changing. Let's put it that
way.
Moving is the best way to put it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, I'm glad you got to experience those things.
Yeah, it was a great thing. A great thing for myself and my wife. Any other player news for you? Any other player with any physical challenges or developments in their career? I think you might have touched on everybody who's actually in that realm right now.
Yeah, and then I still got every week I watch the EuroLeague and watch our players. There was a triple header today. Watching our younger players. Maya's home in Atlanta. Syl, we mentioned Syl. Syl's doing well. I think people know that she had a procedure, some PRP, but she's responded really well to that. So she came for a checkup a couple weeks ago and got great news. And so, everything is, like you said, it's kind of quiet like it typically is at this part of the off season. And but the ones that are playing overseas are doing their thing, trying to get better. I'm in touch with all of them. Sending video clips and trying to stay in touch. And but I'd say all in all, it's November in the WNBA, which is pretty quiet for players.
Is there anybody tearing it up overseas right now?
That is on.
Yours, yes.
I would not say tearing it up. I think the one who's probably has the biggest impact for her team at this point is actually Temi. Temi has a starting role. Plays significant minutes. She did struggle last week against the best team, Ekaterinburg, coached by James Wade, assistant coach. Talked with James about Temi's performance, and she really had been playing well, and that was not her best performance, but overall she's doing well. And then I would say that Chechi has had an impact on Fenerbahce, and Alexis Jones is sort of trying to figure out this Turkish team that she's on. Hatay, she's got some Turkish guards that she doesn't play in the Turkish league games because they have too many foreigners, and so she only gets to play once a week. And it's kind of an interesting dynamic, and the domestic
That's
players.
very diplomatic of you.
Yeah, it is, and I think she's a young player trying to figure it out, and just got to stay the course, and we're trying to give her ways to get better, and ultimately we're thinking about when she returns here that we want a new and improved Alexis Jones, and so I probably have spent the most time with AJ, because her improvement is vital. To our coming season. So, but yeah, I think that's probably about it. We're excited. We're not excited to be picking higher than usual. I won't say that, but the silver lining is we're picking higher than usual,
yeah.
and so the number 6 pick is, I think, going to be really, really interesting. And so, the sort of the planning and looking at possibilities. We're going to get ourselves a good player. So I think, our fans are going to be excited as we get closer. Free agency is first. And then, I think the draft is going to be pretty exciting for us, because we are going to add a quality player to the group.
How much scouting are you doing?
Well, that's about to pick up. Last night was kind of opening night, and, I was able to get all the stats from, prospects. And there were some players that had some really good nights last night, big nights. And so, we've got our schedule mapped out, and, we're going to start hitting games, about a week and a half where we're going to start getting out some big tournaments. We're going to be in the Virgin Islands. We've got, Walt Hopkins and Shelley Patterson that are going to be, probably doing more than usual. We're going to be, we have number 6, 16, 18, and 20. And so 16, 18, and 20, I think are going to have some value, and so we're going to work hard on those things, and we're going to be doing our thing, and we'll be evaluating like crazy, and I don't love. It's interesting. I spent some time with an NBA executive, and I was lamenting that our draft happens last. It's a week before the start of our season, and how hard that is because as you evaluate all season long, free agency goes a certain way. When you get to the draft, you're going to maybe draft somebody that you don't need because it's the best player available, and that's what you have to do, because you never want to get caught drafting for need because you're going to end up possibly passing on a better player. And so when I said this to the NBA exec, they actually feel the opposite. So
really?
I always think it's just human nature. I guess you want what you don't have.
Yeah.
And so they preferred, that free agency happened first, not the draft. And I thought that was really interesting.
I think you're right. I think you want to be able to draft the best player and then fill in with free agency.
Yeah, because it's easier to fill in with free agency.
Right.
Whereas the draft, you're I don't want to say you're stuck. But
if you don't take the best player, you make
mistakes.
You could make a huge mistake.
Yeah. And I've seen that. My 18 years, and that's why I say we'll always, no matter which position you're drafting, you take the best players available and you figure it out. Well, that's what happened to Alexis Jones. It wasn't necessarily a need for us, but now that's a player that's kind of sat for 2 years, and now her time's coming. But it's I'm sure of it, but I'm open to the idea that maybe someone else feels a certain way, and it was surprising to me. But it is what it is.
Thanks to all the listeners who've helped the show and the network grow. We expect this to be a big year for both the show and the network. Thanks to Lori Ramsey of SuccessfulMarketingGroup.com. Again, SuccessfulMarketingGroup.com/Cheryl Reeve. And if you don't own a business, tell the person you know who does own a business. We'll be back next week, and we'll tell you all about the cruise.